Lamelo Ball, MB1, the one of one, went off tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Listen, the Charlotte Hornets defeated the Boston Celtics 121 to 118. This was a crazy game. It went to overtime, all the way down to the wire. And boy, oh boy, did the Charlotte Hornets need this win. They needed something. They needed a spark to get their situation rectified. And I do believe that they finally have found that. I was thoroughly impressed tonight by LaMelo Ball. Just like Miles Bridges said, if there's any situation that LaMelo is not an all NBA or all star, this would be a complete travesty. Today, he carved up the Boston Celtics tonight for 36 points, shooting 15 of 27, 5 of 11 from three, 9 rebounds and 8 assists, 2 steals, and a block. Homage must be paid, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you subscribe to Flight Sports for more news updates and more on the Charlotte Hornets. I'm just ecstatic that they was able to get this victory, and boy, we got to get the Miles Bridges. It could have looked like the mountain of Everest just came off his shoulders. When that shot went down, I think Miles needed that, and you seen it. It was like a sign of relief. For Miles. He needed some success. And I was letting it be known that he needed like a 10-game increment. Miles tonight he played 45 minutes. He had 15 boards and 14 points. So he had more rebounds than he had points. So one thing Miles is doing is contributing. He clearly doesn't have his legs underneath him. He clearly isn't all the way into game shape, but it's coming and it's getting there as we can see. I'm thoroughly confident in him, in his play. Gordon Hayward tonight, he made timely baskets when the Hornets needed it. Today he had 20 points. He had 5 rebounds and 4 assists. I love what I seen from the Charlotte Hornets, man. They need to keep this play up. Brandon Miller tonight with 9 points. All of them played high minutes, so they was clearly tested. You know, um, it was a wild game. You had PJ Washington today off the bench, so the Hornets did make a little switcheroo here. Miles Bridges started tonight. So that was a little bit different from what we were accustomed to seeing. But I mean, it is what it is. Uh, Obviously this is going to be their starting lineup for a very long time. After this victory, Miles Bridges ain't going back to the bench now. The Hornets they moved to 4-9 on the season, and the next game is up against Washington. Listen, if you could beat Boston, you could beat anybody, and I think that needs to be the mentality for the Charlotte Hornets. They need to really get out here and get confident, man, and get this W. I think it's very important for the Charlotte Hornets to win, against Washington. But nonetheless, the Charlotte Hornets, they were 9.5 point underdogs. Pardon me, it was 9.5 underdogs against the Boston Celtics today, as I'm looking at the money line. Um, but they found a way to overcome, that deficit, in the final minutes. They took down the Celtics in overtime. I repeat, the Hornets were down 9 with 2:20 to go in the fourth quarter. And once again, it felt like, the same old. But LaMelo Ball completely carved them up. He drained the big three. Williams, went off today. He did his thing. And then what I loved was that play by LaMelo when he went over, Drew Holiday. I thought that was just spectacular. That was just a big time play, by LaMelo Ball, man. I thought that was just electric. I thought that was key. And LaMelo was proving that he's a go-to man for Charlotte. Not just a guy that puts up points. He's proven that he can get W's. And I loved what I seen tonight. I believe, and listen, the Hornets did everything to lose. I gotta call it how I see it. The Hornets they tried to give the game away, but Boston, I guess, didn't want it. I don't know if they brought the intensity tonight, but I think they ran up against a desperate Charlotte Hornets team. Boston was trying to take them out, but Charlotte needed this game, man. I think that Charlotte was going to beat anybody tonight, all 30 teams in the league. because they were going to play a desperate style tonight. They needed this W. They was not going to be, negated. And I want them to have this approach. Miles Bridges, he hit a big three, but I want to see Miles bringing the ball all the way to the cup. That's what I want to see from Miles Bridges. And defensively, they need to step up. So they won tonight, but defensively, I mean, like I repeat, they did everything in their power to give this game. You have Jalen Brown tonight in foul trouble, so that helped them. Brown only had 13 points. Um, Jason Tatum had 45. He went off. Like I said, Tatum it was a movie. Pritchard went off. He had 21 points. Porzingis tonight, 17 points. Holiday had 11. So they got a nice little balanced attack. And the Charlotte Hornets, they came through as well. They starters balled out for them. And they bringing PJ to the bench, I think, is going to pay dividends because that bench needs something. And PJ is a reliable guy. You know what he's going to bring. And we've seen it firsthand. Um, at this point, we just want the Hornets to win. We don't care how it happens. So I'm not tripping. I hope that and I don't think that's the case because all of them have a great relationship. So I don't think it's gonna be a situation where Miles is starting now. It's gonna cause friction or anything like that. I think none of that is gonna take place. I think that these guys are a well-oiled machine. They're ready to just start winning at all costs, man. It's not the time to be upset about this, be upset about that. It's winning time, at this point. The Hornets season was basically flashing right before their very eyes. And seriously, what more did you need to see? If you look at the standings right now, it's still early, but the Charlotte Hornets are at the bottom. They are 13th right now in the East. The Bulls, they're 12th, at 5-9. So Charlotte, early on in this season, they found themselves in the hole. Then you got Washington pretty much right behind them. So we need to know what are the Hornets' plans this season. Whatever it is, they better figure it out because they better get going now. It's not the time. Go now while the season is where it is now. You don't want to go in another 10 more games and you teetering. It's time to put the wheels on the tracks, and I think they've done that. I believe they defeat Washington because that's the team they need that win. Especially when you got Chicago falling, the way they falling. Toronto, you don't know what's up with them, but you'll stay competitive with everyone else. So only time will tell. But y'all let me know your thoughts on Lamelo Ball and the Charlotte Hornets. They get a big W tonight over Boston. It's Flight Sports TV. You already know what it is.